Hello everyone, this is Carla from Imagine That with Carla. Today I have 4 projects to share with you, so sit back, relax, and let's get started. For the first project, I have 2 of these wood ovals that I had purchased from Hobby Lobby. What we're going to do first is we're going to take some DIY chalk paint in the color of Gypsy Green, and we're going to paint the inside of both of these wooden ovals. The DIY paint, being a chalk paint, this paint is very thick, so we'll only need to put 1 coat on the inside of each of these wooden ovals. And after you have those painted, since it is a chalk paint, we do need to seal it. So we're going to take some DIY liquid patina and put a thin coat of that over each of the insides of these. As that's drying, we're going to use some raw silk fusion paint and paint the inside trim and the outside trim of each of these ovals. And now this you will not have to seal because it does have a built-in primer and sealer. After those are painted, we're going to take the stamp set by IOD called Flora and Vine. And here I'm just taking a little sandblock and I'm kind of seasoning those stamps so you can use those as you're putting them on your ink, and that makes the ink adhere better. Here I'm taking this larger one and we're going to ink it up with some IOD white ink. And we're going to put that on both sides of the oval, and then we'll do the same thing to the other oval. After that's dried, we're going to be taking 2 of the gilded frames from Petite Ornaments from IOD, and we're going to place those on each frame. Here I'm just checking to make sure I have the little hanger on the back where I need it to be, to make sure I get this centered on this oval. After I place it on, I'm going to use my transfer tool, and when I'm doing a gilded transfer, it's better if you can try to keep your tool right on the places that need to be transferred. That will avoid getting other little gold specks onto your project. I'm going to do that on both frames, and when we're finished with that, I'm going to take a couple of transfers that have little birds on them from the Greca Flora transfer pack that was a spring release. We're going to add those to the center of each frame. Use our tool again. Press those in, and they go on really nicely since we have sealed that. Now for the next one, this bird, I really wanted to use the bird, the little red bird on there, but I felt like it needed more floral around it, so I just took another little bunch of flowers from the Flora Greca transfer pack, and we're going to cut those apart and place them around this bird on the stem to make it look a little fuller for this frame. Here I'm just trimming down, and I'm going to place those on there to see where I want them to go. And of course, the ones I want in the background, I want to transfer on first, and then I will lay the bird on top of that to be in the foreground. And these are complete. Now what I want to do is I'm going to take some of my Pigment Fix and my metal pigment in gold, and these are by Pentart. And I'm going to mix the Pigment Fix. It just takes a little bit because it goes a long way. In fact, I'm going to have some of this left that I'm going to be using for another project in this video. I like to put the liquid in first It seems to mix better with the powder rather than trying to put the powder and then the liquid on top of it. After I get that mix, I'm going to go around the inside rim of each of these ovals, and it just really brings out, I think, the gold frame and just adds that little pop to the picture. And here we're going to take some Dark and Decrepit liquid patina by DIY, and I'm going to add 2 coats of this to both frames. And I just love the way these turned out. I think that gives it such a rich look with that dark against the gold, and then all the gold on the frame with all the florals. Now this project, these are 2 little vases that I picked up at Michael's when they were having a sale. And again, I'm going to use some of the DIY Gypsy Green. And I'm going to cover up that terracotta rough edging around the bottom. It was kind of a gritty feel. And I'm just going to take this Gypsy Green, and I'm going to put that rim around the bottom on both of these little vases. Since this is a chalk paint, again, when we're finished with the project, I will be sealing these. In fact, I'll be taking them outside and using Rust-Oleum's Clear Matte spray on them. Here we're going to be using some redesigned H2 transfers. These are water transfers. I'm real excited to use these. These are new for me, so this is going to be something we're both going to learn together. The gold that you now see on those vases was some that was left over from the framed pictures that we just did. And this gold does not last very long, and I haven't figured out a way to reconstitute it. After it dries out, it's pretty much done. So here we're going to take some alcohol, and I'm going to go over these vases. We're going to clean these really well, get any residue off of there. And then the instructions say to moisten your base that you're going to be adding these to. So I'm going to take this cloth and I'm going to wet it really well. There is a film on the back that you need to peel off, and after you peel that off, you put the color side down on the wet surface. And it's really nice because it gives you a picture of what you're placing on there on the side you're putting down, so you know exactly what you're pressing on and what you're going to get. And then you're to take a wet cloth again, or it suggests a roller sponge, but a wet cloth I think should work. So I'm adding more water, and then it suggests taking some kind of a scraper tool or a flat tool to make sure that is adhered on there nice and flat. Here we're going to do the same thing to this one. Wet the surface and then wet the applique itself. Now we're going to pull this off and see what happens. Oh, as you can see, some of the letters Didn't come out quite straight, but overall I'm pretty pleased with the way that turned out. Now the other one didn't turn out so well. In fact, it didn't turn out at all. I don't know what happened, but for now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to what's this one called? This one is called Emily Claire. So this is taken from the Iron Orchid Designs transfer pack that was in the spring release. So what I'm doing, I'm cutting this apart and I'm going to put the butterflies on first. This is a curved surface. So the outside edges, they were pretty large and they wouldn't all fit on there. So I'm trimming out the bottom little design. And then I'm just going to trim around it and put some kind of like, I put them like little cuts in there that help you go around that curved surface. It gives you a little wiggle room and a little space to be able to get your tool in there without any buckling of that carrier sheet. And after that side's on, we're going to take the other side, place it on there, and again we'll take the transfer tool, make my little clips in there to be able to get that to fit around that curved surface a little bit easier. And then we're going to start pressing that transfer on. I'm using my fingernails here because they're right there, and then I'll get my tool and we'll finish up around the side and around the bottom. And I think this turned out really sweet. In the final picture, you'll see where they take on a more of a matte look, and that's because of the clear spray that I used on them outside. I had thrifted this little black planter, and so we're going to zhuzh it up a little bit. Here I am taking some Cheshire milk paint that I had mixed up for a project that won't be in this video, but I had, excuse me, some left over, so I decided to go ahead and put that on this little planter. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm wondering just how well this is going to adhere, because I wanted to use Extra Bond, but I couldn't find Extra Bond anywhere. And so I ordered kind of a substitute, and it won't be here for a while, but I wanted to go ahead and work on this planter. So we're just going to see what happens here. As you can see, I'm getting a lot of crazing. Looks like it's going to be bubbling up a little bit. Now on here, I would love it if I would just get that little bit of crazing that I'm getting, but I mean, this goes chippy overboard. As you can see, as I'm wiping this off, there's hardly any paint left on the back, and on the front, it's not too bad, but it still is coming off quite a bit. The front isn't bad, but the back is like, I can't live with that. So we're going to take some more of that milk paint. We're going to repaint the back of that, and we're going to dry it again. And then we're just going to see what happens. Now my front, as you can see, it's starting to really chip off more, and can't live with that either, so we're just going to see what happens and put some more paint over that. Okay, here I'm going to seal it because I know that I'm going to be wanting to put some transfers on there. But I'm also going to be adding more paint to this, and I thought if I sealed it, it's going to be milk paint, maybe it would not chip off quite as much. Here I've got Love Bug milk paint and mix it up with equal amounts of water and the milk paint, and I'm just kind of brushing it on randomly, not trying to cover everything, because with the sealer on there I figure it's not going to chip off as much. So now we're going to dry this and see what happens with this. Okay, I'm getting that crazing. I'm liking that. Now we got to do the back. Dry this. And the biggest part of the area that we painted with the Love Bug on here, as you could see, had already chipped off. So I'm not real sure how that's going to adhere, even though we did put that sealer on there. That's not too bad. Now I want to seal this again because, like I said, I am going to be putting transfers on there, and since that is a milk paint, I want to make sure that my transfers will adhere. Now the downside from this is that later I'm going to be using an oil wax, a dark Sweet Pickens oil wax, and by sealing all of this in, it really kind of seals your crazing marks, so it doesn't really seep down into your aged marks like you would want it to. Now here I have dried this, and I'm going to mix up a little bit more of my pigment fix and my gold metal pigment, because I do want to add a little bit of gold to that band you can see there kind of toward the top. And I do take a little bit of that gold also, and I brush it around the rim and around the bottom, just kind of make that pop, and not necessarily perfect, to just kind of give it that aged, worn look. So here we're going around this little band with that gold metallic. When that's dry, we're going to take this little bird with a floral around it, and this one is also from the Floral Greca. So many beautiful things in that one, that transfer packet. Okay, we're going to place that on. I'm going to trim on those grid lines where I know it will be hanging over if I don't. Take that off, place it on there. Take my transfer tool and I just rub on all that until that is adhered on there. Then I had a couple little things that I also cut out from that Floral Greca. There was a little bee. We're going to put him at the top. And I wanted to use the light colored butterfly, but it was just too large. I couldn't see it on there with the proportion that everything else was, so I opted to go with the smaller one. It has a little bit of the orange and little black tips on the wings. Then I pulled out the stencil that I've had in my stash, and again we're going to mix up a little bit more of that gold, because as you can see up there, it did dry out before I got to this step. I probably spent a couple days anyway on this project, and so I had to mix up just a little bit more to do my stencil. The stencil that I'm using I got from Amazon, and it says Le Jardinier, which in French I believe means the gardener. So I thought that would be a nice little addition to put on this little planter. It does give a cottage French country vibe to this little planter. Here I'm taking painter's tape and I want to secure this on. This is a curved surface, but I think the curvature on the stencil lends itself to that. So we're going to tape this on, try to get it secure because it is going to be over that lip, and so it's going to give me a little space. But I think if I hold it down as I stencil, I'll be fine. I'm using JRV's stencil brush. You want to upload, then offload, and then just tap lightly, kind of pounce that on each of your letters. You don't want too much on your brush or you will get bleeding. I'm going to do that for all the letters. I thought about black, but I really didn't want it to look that harsh. I wanted it to have a softer look, so I went with the gold, and I just love the way this turned out on this little planter. As I said, I believe it does give it that cottage French country look. I love that. Now when that's completely dry, that's when I'm going to take some of the dark oil wax. And I was pretty right. You know, I've sealed this several times. So it really isn't going to get down into those cracks much, but it does give it a little darkening feel to it. So it does give it a little bit of an aged look. And I let that sit on there about 15 minutes before I actually wiped it off. That's what it says to do, what it suggests. So that's what I went with. And I did do the handle as well. So after that, it's been sitting, like I said, for about 15 minutes. I'm going to take this dry cloth, clean but stained, and then I'm noticing on the back, oh my goodness, look at all that chipping. Is that going to come off? So I picked at it a little bit, and yeah, some of it did come off because I hate to sell it. I'm going to put it in my booth, you know, with half of the back coming off. But this is how it turned out. Here are 3 little blocks that I picked up. Oh gosh, I don't know if it was a garage sale or what, but they had some little things decoupaged on them. They were really worn and not very clean, so I tried to clean them up and I got the decoupage off, and they're kind of rough on the edges and the sides, so I took them outside and sanded them. And what I'm going to do now is from the IOD Victoriana mold, I'm going to cast 3 of these little roses and put those on the top of each of these little blocks. Now I'm going to place these blocks where I will have 2 going vertical, more taller, and 1 going more horizontal, just to give it a little bit of interest as a little grouping. So I go through and I get those all cast, get those all glued on the top, and now I'm going to take a little bit of raw silk by Fusion. I'm going to paint the front, and I'm going to go ahead and paint the top on the flowers with just the paint itself. And after I get the tops and the fronts all painted, I'm going to then take some salt wash. Take a little bit of salt wash, add a little bit of water to my paint, add some salt wash, make it a little bit thicker, a little bit more water, a little bit more of the salt wash, because I do want this to have some texture. So I'm going to apply this to the sides and the back of each of these little blocks. And I'm kind of stippling that on, not brushing it per se. That way I can get more of a texture look out of it. I'm going to add just a little bit around the top of the roses, but I don't want to, take away from the delicate design of the rose. I don't want to fill it in so much that you can't really see all the detail in the rose. And then I decide I'm going to put just a little bit around the edges on the front, because I'm going to be attempting again to use those H2O transfers. So we're going to do the same process, and I thought, well, this is a flat surface, so maybe this will be easier. I remove the film, I wet the surface, make sure it's good and wet. I place the color side down, and again, I'm going to get it good and wet. I'm going to let that sit. It says to let it sit for about 3 minutes or so. So by the time I get back around to each of these, it is about that time. And I may have even turned off my recording and let it sit just a little bit longer, because I really wanted these to turn out. I mean, this is such a great idea, and I love the little minis like this, because you're always needing smaller little transfers on some things. And I love this one. This one is really cute, I think. Kind of, that French country look. So after those have set, I'm going to take this little tool again that I have from Cricut. It's kind of like a flat edge scraper, but what you're doing here is making sure that your little transfer is flat on the surface. And I felt like maybe that's where I went wrong on the other ones. I don't know, we shall see. So this one I'm going to try to take off. We're going to see what happens. And that is not adhering, so we're going to wet it a little bit more. Kind of use my little flattening tool and try to push that into that surface a little bit more, because it's nice and wet. Still not wanting to come up. So let's look at this one. Oh, now this one's coming off nicely. I love it, but here's where I make my mistake. I'm straightening that up, and then it stuck to my finger. It pulled it all cattywampus. There was no getting that off. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just pull off that outside edge, but it took all the letters with it. So I ended up just getting that off, but I did get to keep the flowers. So that turned out really good. The other one didn't turn out at all. Now this one did turn out. I am so pleased with this one. That little corner up there, I was afraid to touch it too much, afraid it might do what the other one did when it just pulled everything off. So I am pleased with this one. Now, for this one, I decided I am not going to use another one of those on this. I decided to go back to my transfers. And I went to, I think it was, found a little flower set in Floral, and I just cut it apart because I couldn't find any to fit on here anyway that went horizontal. So that little flower there I had cut apart from one of the IOD kind of bouquets, and I transferred that on. Then I went to my gilded transfer pack from IOD. This is called the Petite Ornaments, and it's just full of little frames. So I thought I would do that. And on the one where I had to tear off the edging and all the words, I put a little frame around that little flower that was left as well, and that turned out really cute. Can't tell there was a mistake there. And here we transferred that on, and that was the one I added a frame. And this one doesn't really need a frame, but the parts I cut off of that one transfer, I thought, you know, it kind of needs a little bit of gold to kind of pull it all together as a set. So I just cut those little pieces down and transferred one of those at the top and one of those at the bottom. Again, when you're doing the gilded, you need to, you know, really just focus on keeping your transfer tool on the gold that needs to be transferred. And I think these look really nice as a set. Now I'm going to take, again, some of my Sweet Pickins dark oil, and I'm going to go over all of these edges and sides and tops and bottoms. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of wipe it off of the picture part because I'm not real sure how dark this will be on there. I have not used the oil that much to really know what to expect on different mediums, so I wanted to go ahead and kind of wipe that back. But as I found out as I was going through this, it wipes back really well. I mean, I don't think there's any issue of getting too much of this on something. And again, I let that set, and after that had set, I go back in and I wipe it off. And I wanted to leave, you know, some of that in, especially the florals and where I had put the salt wash into the paint, because I wanted that texture to show through, to give it kind of an aged look. Again, going with that French country and that cottage look. Here I'm taking just a little bit more. I just want to take a little bit more, put around the edges on the front. I'm going to let that set for a little bit, and I just want to kind of, I don't know, dab that off because I do want it to look a little bit darker around the edges. Like I said, it does wipe back pretty well, but I did get it a little bit darker. I just didn't wipe quite as hard. It'll take it a little longer to cure, but that's fine because that's the look I'm going for. I think they turned out great. Let me know in the comments which was your favorite, and until next time, bye-bye.